In this exercise, we're going to take a look at the burn tool, which is essentially dodge's opposite. Just as the dodge tool ends up brightening things, the burn tool right here, which you can also get by pressing the O key. And you can remember that because if you burn a piece of toast, it's going to darken up, right? And this little hand could be holding a piece of toast. These icons are actually based on old darkroom techniques. I'm going to switch to the burn tool. And again, you have your range controls. And this time, it's more likely that you're going to want to stick to the midtones and the highlights inside of the image. And this image in particular needs help in the highlight department. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to the highlights. Of course, highlights ends up getting sticky here on the PC, so I'll press the escape key afterwards. Escape does not abandon the fact that you switch to highlights. It just unsticks that option. And then it's really important that you reduce the exposure value. So I'm going to press the 2 key to reduce that exposure to 20%. Notice we've got this option here called Protect Tones. And it's available for the dodge tool, too. And if you ever get nostalgic for the old behavior of these tools in Photoshop CS3 and earlier, you can turn this checkbox off and you can paint with the tool. But notice it's going to give you some pretty awful results, like that horrible damage that I just applied right there. The tools were made considerably better inside of the last version of the software. I'm going to go ahead and press Control-Z, Command-Z on the Mac, and keep that Protect Tones option on. Now I'm going to go ahead and try that brushstroke again, and you can see that it's still not what I want to do, but it's looking a heck of a lot better than it was before. What I want to do is I want to paint across the forehead here with a very large brushstroke, so I'm just going to paint one stroke back and forth across there, and that should do it. Now that does deplete a little bit of the saturation, but we can take care of that later. And I'm not sure the saturation we had is what we want because it was awfully darn yellow. I'm going to reduce the size of my cursor now and paint down the bridge of the nose in order to darken that up just a little bit. I could paint over here as well, like so. Just little tiny brush strokes, as you can see. Another really common thing to do with the burn tool, and you can decide whether you want to do it or not, is switch to the midtones by pressing Shift-Alt-M or Shift-Option-M on the Mac. And then paint on the side of the bridge of the nose. Very popular thing to do. It adds some volumetric detail to the image. You can do it if you want to. Cheeks, sometimes people will go in and dodge, that kind of thing. Probably don't want to dodge the jowls. That's just going to emphasize them. We'll go ahead and undo that modification. Or the eye bags. Again, not a popular thing. And in fact, there's not all that much about this image that I think is dodge critical. I could, if I was worried about the gray in my beard, try to dodge some of that away, like so, and underneath my lip on this little bit of gray soul patch. But I'm not really too concerned about those details. I might have just as easily left them. That's in a nutshell how you use the burn tool inside of Photoshop. In the next exercise, we're going to fix some of the wandering saturation using the sponge tool.